We studied trigonometry in O level and AS level. Started with a right angled triangle. How to get the sine ratio? Sine ratio. Sine theta is equal opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tan theta is opposite over adjacent. What is the identity which is connected between all of these trigonometric ratio? Which identity?
Right angle.
Which identity connected between sine, cosine, and tan? Tan theta is equal to sine theta over cosine theta. Which identity connected between sine and cosine? Sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal what? We studied in AS level just only two identities, right? Count how many identities this year. Be ready for counting. Be ready for counting. Today, inshallah, we'll add another 3 trigonometric functions. The 3 trigonometric functions are reciprocal for the basic one, the basic trigonometric ratio, sine, cosine, and tan. The others are reciprocal. We'll add. Now, we studied sine, cosine, and tan. We'll add another 3 trigonometric functions. Cotan, sec, and cosec. Tan from tangent. Cotan, cotangent. Sec from secant. Cosec from cosecant. But we name it cotan, sec, and cosec. Cotan reciprocal of tan. Tan reciprocal of tan. Cotan reciprocal of tan. So tan theta is equal 1 over cotan theta. We can write it cotan theta is 1 over tan theta. This is called reciprocal. Sec theta reciprocal of cosine. Sec theta reciprocal of cosine. So sec theta is 1 over cosine. Cosine is 1 over sec. Cosec reciprocal of sine. Cosec theta is 1 over sine theta. We added 3 trigonometric ratios. Cotan, sec, cosec. Cotan reciprocal of tan. Tan, cotan, cotan, tan. Cosine reciprocal of sec. Sine reciprocal of cosec. Started with S sine cosec. Sec reciprocal of cosine. Tan reciprocal of cotan. Repeat again. We added another 3 trigonometric ratios. Cotan reciprocal of what? Cotan reciprocal of what? 1 over tan. This means tan theta cotan theta equals what? 1. Identity. Sec theta reciprocal of what? Cosine. Their product equals 1. Cosine theta times sec theta equals what? 1. Identity. Cosec theta is equal to 1 over sine theta. So sine theta cosec theta is equal what? 1. Tan theta again. Tan theta equals what? Connected between sine and cosine. Tan is sine theta over cosine theta. Now cotan theta is cosine theta. You are right, but cosine theta over what? Sine theta. Sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals what? If you divide this identity by cosine squared theta, if you divide this identity by cosine squared theta, divided by cosine squared theta will be what? Tan squared theta plus cosine squared divided by cosine squared is equal to 1. 1 over cosine sec will be sec squared. This will be identity. Sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals what? If you divided this identity by sine squared theta, divided by sine squared theta will be, divided by sine squared theta will be cotan squared theta, divided by sine squared theta will be cosec squared theta. This called identity. If I ask now, how many identities till now we studied? Let's count from beginning again. Number one, 2, 3. Reciprocals. Means if we start with cotan theta equals 1 over tan theta, so you can write it by another way. Tan theta cotan theta equals what? Sec theta reciprocal of what? Cosine theta. So cosine theta sec theta equals what? 1. Cosec theta equals 1 over sine theta. So sine theta cosec theta is equal to 1. Now 3, 4, 5. Relation tan sine cosine, cotan cosine sine. So when I ask about tan theta equals what? Sine theta over cosine theta. So cotan theta is cosine theta over sine theta. 6, 7, 8. The squares. Reciprocal, cotan reciprocal of tan. I will send this PDF. We'll record it class out. 6, 7, and 8. Squares. We have 3 identities. Squares. For AS level, sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1 plus tan squared will be sec squared. 1 plus cotan squared is equal to cosec squared theta. It's enough today to study these 8 identities. I will not add today anymore. 8 identities. 8 identities. Sine reciprocal cosec, their product equals 1. cosine reciprocal sec, their product equals 1. Tan reciprocal cotan, their product is equal to 1. Tan sine over cosine, cotan cosine over sine, sine square plus cosine square is equal to 1. 1 plus tan squared is equal to secant squared. 1 plus cotan squared is equal to cosec squared. For the final exams, there is a formula sheet. Most included, but please try to recognize, memorize all the identities. Will help you for solving any equation, any identity, integration. We need all, differentiation, we need all. Yes.
Sir, 1 plus tan to the power of 2 theta is equal to sec 1 to the power of 1, right? Not to the power of 7.
How do you use that? Divide by sine square cosine.
Yeah, the explanation is here, okay? So now, if we have, say, a right angle triangle, if it is given any trigonometric ratio, you can find the others. Say, if we have sine theta is equal to 3 over 5, without using the calculator, how to find the other trigonometric functions? How to get cosine? How to get tan? Sec, cosec. We have two ways. I prefer to use Pythagorean theorem. Okay? By drawing a right angled triangle. By drawing a right angled triangle. By drawing a right angled triangle, label this angle to be theta. Which given opposite and hypotenuse. Find the adjacent by apply Pythagorean theorem will be what? Now you can find all trigonometric functions. But theta lies in which quadrant? Maybe first, second, third, fourth. So it's depend on the sign. If you remember for AS level ASTC, the acute angle lies in first quadrant. The first quadrant from 0 to 90. Second quadrant from 90 to 180. Third, 270. Fourth, 360. You can write it by using rad. 0. 90 in rad is pi over 2. You can write half pi. Pi. 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. The first quadrant, all are positive. Second quadrant, and it's reciprocal. What is the reciprocal of sine? Cosec. Cosec. Reciprocal of sine, cosec. So sine and cosec are positive in the second quadrant. We wrote it here tan, but tan and reciprocal. We have here cosine and reciprocal. This is according to the sign. So if it is written theta between pi over 2 and pi, so theta lies in which quadrant? Second, right? Type. If I ask it to get sine theta, cosine theta, tan theta, cotan theta, sec theta, cosec theta. From the right angled triangle, you can find all the trigonometric ratio. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. 3 over what? Cosine adjacent over hypotenuse, which is 4 over 5. Tan opposite over adjacent, which is 3 over 4. What about sine? Which in the second quadrant positive? Sine. So the others have to be negative. How to get cotan, sec, cosec? No need to memorize it again. Find the reciprocal of basic trigonometric function. Cotan, reciprocal of what? Tan will be 4 over 3 and keep the sign negative. Sec, reciprocal of what? Sec, reciprocal of cosine, 5 over 4. It's a negative. Cosec, Reciprocal of what? Sine will be 3 over 5 will be 5 over 3. 5 over 3. I said regarding to the sine and its reciprocal will be same. Tan and reciprocal same. Cosine and reciprocal. So why we kept the negative sign for cotan? Because cotan and the tan have same sign. Sec have same sign of what? Cosine. Cosec, reciprocal of sine. So will be the same sign. Clear? Yes, your question. Listen to your friendly question, please. Yes.
Why did you make them negative?
Why what?
Why would, like, for example, cosine theta, why is it negative?
Cosine negative? Okay.
Yeah.
The angle is in the second quadrant. It's written from pi to, I will change this quadrant. If it is written, say, from pi to 3 pi over 2 mean third. Third, only tan and reciprocal cotan. If the angle in fourth. ده لسه when I have solved the equation theta 180 minus 180 plus 360 minus. When we start to solve the equation, I will explain this part again. I will ask again, I will give another question. Yes. 0 and الانجل لا your question again. الساين 3 over 5 تمام. I give you the range of theta. Differentiate between solving equation and find the exact values. Already written a range. I'm not solving equation. I will explain in details how to solve the equation and how to get all the details about extension of the range. I will give another question. Cosine theta is equal to 7 over 25. Where is theta reflex? How to get the other trigonometric ratio without using the calculator? How to sure work out? If it is given one trigonometric ratio, use the right angle triangle. By drawing a right angle triangle, theta is which given tan. Tan adjacent over what? If sorry. It's given the trigonometric ratio cosine, which is 7 over 25. Apply Pythagorean theorem, 25 squared minus 7 squared, then x squared will be 24. Then ready for finding the other values. Start from sine, cosine, even tan from the right angle triangle. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tan is opposite over adjacent. We are now in which quadrant? Theta written reflex means what?
Up to 270
Acute angle means less than 90, so means in the first quadrant. Obtuse angle between 90 and 180, so this means second quadrant. But reflex angle more than 180 and less than 360. So in which quadrant? Maybe third or fourth. Third or fourth. Which one exactly this question?
No, except sine. Sine is not.
Obtuse.
Sine and
How come fourth? Because given in the question cosine positive, in the fourth cosine negative. It's given in the question cosine positive. Reflex angle may be in third or fourth. Third or fourth. Which trigonometric ratio given cosine? Is it given positive or negative? Given positive. This means we are now in the fourth quadrant. لا. You find the sine. الكويشن نفسه given الكوساين ده انا لسه ستارت اهو اعمل الساين بقى. Now we are in which quadrant? Fourth. So sine have to be what? Negative. Cosine is positive. Tan is negative. And now you can find cotan, sec, and cosec. Cotan reciprocal of tan. Sec reciprocal of cosine. 25 over 7. Cosec reciprocal of sine 25 over 24. يلا يو question. فين؟ الكوتان 7 over 24. Yes, right. 7 over 24. 7 over 24 negative. طيب. Which quadrant? From 0 to 90. First quadrant, right? If it is written acute angle, so the angle in which quadrant? First. Clear? If it is written obtuse angle, second. But for reflex angle, between 180 and 360. So we have here two options. Maybe third or fourth. Maybe third or. It's given in the question cosine. It's given here cosine positive. Cosine positive, fourth or third? I will give you here. Listen. If it is given, for example, tan theta 3 over 4 and written theta reflex. Listen again. Listen. If it is given like this, tan theta 3 over 5 and the theta reflex. In which quadrant we are now? How come? Why it's not fourth? Yes, right. If I change the sign and write negative. Reflex means third or fourth. Reflex means third or fourth. It's given tan what? Tan negative. Tan negative in which quadrant? Third or fourth? Fourth. Now it's clear? الميجر of angle more than 180, and if say I give you angle 220 degrees, this angle is acute, obtuse, or reflex? Reflex more than what? But 220 in which quadrant exactly? Will be third. If I give you say 300, acute, reflex, or obtuse angle? Reflex angle. In which quadrant? So in which quadrant to know the sign of trigonometric, whatever sine, cosine, tan, cotan, sec, and cosec. Theta, when I say theta, means the basic angle, or it's called the principal angle. I use it as a guide to get the value exactly. Like it's better to show the triangle in the fourth quadrant, you have to do like this. A theta, when I say theta, means the acute angle. It's not a right angle triangle as you said, you are right. Theta is not exactly one angle of the right angle triangle. Will take a complete rotation, means this angle. But there is a relation between the principal and revolution a complete. In AS level, the teacher explained what is the relation between angle 30 degrees and the 330 degrees. They have the same values. Sine 30 like sine 330, but different only in sign. Maybe positive or negative. It's depends on what? The quadrant which lies in between. If I ask you to get sine 30, you will get it 1 over 2. Sine 330, you'll get it negative 1 over 2 because of what? It lies in the second quadrant. But when I draw a right angle triangle, and right theta means the basic angle, which is from 0 to 90. But if it is obtuse angle, will be 180 minus. If it is reflex angle, 360 minus. I will explain this part when I solve the equation. We studied now 8 identities to connect between sine, cosine, tan, cotan, sec, cosec. In the fourth quadrant. In the fourth quadrant, sine negative. We have 2 directions of angles. If rotation clockwise will be negative, anti-clockwise will be positive. And there is a relation between, if you remember graph of, I will explain all parts in AS level before start A2 level. For any part, whatever identities, solving equations, graphs. When I started to explain graphs of cotan, sec, cosec, I'll back again to AS level, explain sine, cosine, tan, then continue. When I start to solve the equation for cotan or sec or cosec, I will revise for all parts in AS level. About this point, don't worry. Like in the angles, the sine and the cosine is negative. If you remember graph of sine, you can extend it in the negative side. This is why we have angles negative and angle positive. But they are equivalent, have the same value but different sign. Now, no need to memorize or get reciprocal of, say, when I ask you to get cotan, I know tan is opposite over adjacent. So when you ask me cotan, adjacent over opposite, but no need to memorize this. I will memorize only the basic, then get reciprocals. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So cosec, reciprocal of sine. Cosec, reciprocal of sine. Sec, reciprocal of cosine. Cotan, reciprocal of tan. No need to memorize this part. You can find the principle and switch. I explained the 3 identities, which included squares. Sine squared plus cosine squared is equal to 1. When we divided it by sine and cosine, you will get 1 plus tan squared is sec squared. 1 plus cotan squared is cosec squared. How to sketch the graph of sine first? Do you remember for AS level?
Where start from the origin, 190 at 90, and then origin on 80, 0, by the negative 170.
When we try to explain this part for O-level students, start to show a table, X, Y, 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. For O-level, it's better to increase the number of points to be easily to join the graph. Maybe I will give the steps to be 45, 0, 45, 90, 135, 180, 225, 270, 315, and 360. Or you can increase the points 0, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. When we try to give the steps, I will try to get a values, give multiples 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. Why? Don't try to ask, say 20, 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. I have to pass with 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. The critical points of the curve, the quadrants, to show the quadrants behavior of the circle, Started from 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. So when we try to sketch any graph for sine, cosine, tan, please try to get values, give multiples of 90, 180, 270, 360, whatever about. 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, right. 0, 30, 60, 90, 120, correct. 0, 45, 90, 135, right. 0, 22.5, we divided by 2, by 3, by 4. 90 divided by 2, 45. 0, 45, 90. 90 divided by 3, 30. So 0, 30, 60, 90. 90 divided by 4, 22.5. 0, 22.5. Then 45. Each time we add 2.5. Anyway, we use calculator mode 7. Use mode 7. Mode 7. Write your function, whatever, sine. Write sine x. Mode 7. Write the function sine x equal. It's written what? Start 0 equal end what? 360 equal step 90, whatever, but 90, 45, 30, and write equal. You will get this table, right? You will get 0, 1, 0, minus 1, 0. Whatever, but if you take the steps to be 45, 30, and plot the points of the graph, 0, 0, 91, 180, 0, 270, negative 1, 360 is 0. Clear? If you reduce the steps, if say at 45, you will get the decimal 0.7, 1, and so on. This is the graph of sine. You have to recognize it. You have to recognize graph of sine. Listen, 0, 1, 0, minus 1, 0.
Oh, yes.
0, 1, 0, minus 1, 0. See, without using the calculator, if I ask to get to, without using the calculator, if I ask to get sine 0, sine 90, sine 180, sine 270, sine 360, if you recognize the graph, you can find the values. Sine 0 is 0. Sine 90 is
1.
sine 180, sine negative 270, sine 360 is 0. So without using the calculator, you can recognize it from the graph. Sine 0 is 0, sine 90 is 1, 0, negative 1, and 0. What about graph of reciprocal?
That is good you have.
Exactly. Reciprocal switch between the values of numerator and denominator, right?
Yeah.
If we use this table and start to get reciprocal of values, switch between numerator and yalla, start to get reciprocal of first will be reciprocal of 0. Reciprocal of 0, infinity. Infinity. I will explain why it's infinity. Yes, will be asymptote line. If we have infinity, will be asymptote line, vertical asymptote line at this value. Infinity. 90. Reciprocal of 1 is. Reciprocal of 0 is. Reciprocal of negative 1 is. Same. Reciprocal means multiplicative inverse. Switch between numerator will be same. 0 will be. Infinity means draw a vertical asymptote lines. Listen, draw a vertical at asymptote line. See, to sketch the graph, I will draw a vertical asymptote line at 0, asymptote line at 180, asymptote line at 360. This point is clear? Then reciprocal. I will start from this point. Reciprocal of 1 will be 1.
Yes.
If the points down, flip it up to get reciprocal of the values. there is a reflection about the horizontal asymptote line at 1. If we have a horizontal line at 1, reflect the curve. This is why it's better to increase the number of points. Please give me the values of this table. 0, 45, 90. Give it to me one decimal place. Exactly. If you use 1 over sine directly, you will get the complete table. If you use now, listen, write your graph 1 over sine x direct for this table. Shift mode 7, mode 7, write the function 1 over sine x. Write the function is 1 over sine x, start 0, end 360, step 45. Give me the values. The first one, error means infinity. Second one,
1.4.
then
1.
Then
1.4. Error. Negative 1.4. Negative 1. Negative 1.4. Error.
C. Error means vertical asymptote line. Clear? The first point, 45 and 1.4. 90 is 1. 135 is 1.4, like a U shape. The second one same. 270 is negative 1, and here negative 1.4, negative 1.4, then reciprocal. I will explain direct now how to use sine to sketch cosec. How? I will give the graph only for sine and show directly how to sketch both in the same graph. How to sketch on the same graph. This is the graph of sine, right? Asymptote line at what? At 0. The reciprocal of 0 is undefined. 0. What else? At 180. What else? Clear? 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 If say, look at this line, 1 and negative 1. Reflect about this line. Reflect about this line. This point will be same, flip it up. Again, this point same, flip it down. This is the green graph from 0 to 360. If you extend the range to the other sides, will be exactly same. I will show the graph of sine. If say graph of sine complete curve like this, left and right. How to sketch the graph of reciprocal? Asymptote line, asymptote line, asymptote line, asymptote line. Then I will now start to reflect. This part reflected down, this part reflected up, this part reflected down, this part reflected up. This is the graph of cosec. Exactly same for cosine. Try to train yourself for cosine graph. Asymptote lines at zeros, which reciprocal will be infinity, and flip it. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll start with this point. Graphs, sine, cosine, tan, cotan, sec, and cosec.